Hi, I'm Kirsten Burlingame, and I'm a park ranger at St.Gaudens National Historical Park, right across the river from Springfield and Windsor, Vermont, in Cornish, New Hampshire. And we're the only National Park Service site in New Hampshire, and the only one out of the 429 national parks that's dedicated specifically to a sculptor. And we're celebrating National Pollinator Week. This is the Pollinator Party, and we're doing this because it's National Pollinator Week. It's the second time that we've done it. We did it in 2022, and it's a partnership event with the local library, Stoll Library in Cornish, and Sullivan County Conservation District. And this year we have the Caterpillar Lab, which is really exciting too, to have them for the first time.
So the Caterpillar Lab, it started actually with a couple students that graduated from Antioch College in Keene, New Hampshire, and the executive director, he, with a couple others, started the Caterpillar Lab, which basically started off with just bringing plants with caterpillars to a bunch of places like farmers markets and things like that, and just getting people excited about caterpillars, realizing that these things are out in the backyard, people could see them themselves and go out and look for them, and then just how much they connect to the rest of the ecosystem. And so now there is a place like that is the lab, and that's in Marlborough, New Hampshire, right outside of Keene. And we do mostly rearing of caterpillars, and we bring them around to different programs and farmers markets and gardens and schools and that kind of thing, and focus on conservation education. But we also do a little bit of research. We've worked with universities and done some research with them because we do have such a expansive amount of native New England caterpillars. And then the director is also working on an ID book or a guidebook for all of these things as well. So he's doing that, and as we're rearing other caterpillars, he's taking a bunch of pictures of all their life stages, as well as like the parasitoids that parasitize them, and getting this whole big web of kind of what everything entails with the caterpillars that are in the area. I am Bridget. And I've been with the Caterpillar Lab for about 2 months now, but I'm just one of the educators, and we have open hours at the building, the lab as well, and so I'll be there also like talking about caterpillars, but actually on location, and I also help wrangle caterpillars, which is what we call it when we take care of them in the lab, and we have all these different Tupperwares of all our caterpillars, and we clean their little enclosures and add new food and watch them go from egg to moth, and I'm also one of the wranglers.
So is your official title a caterpillar wrangler?
I mean, I like to say I'm a caterpillar wrangler. There's a lot more to it, but that's the coolest title, yes.
And what is your favorite insect?
So I got into insects more with bees, so I've always been really interested in native bees. I started with honeybees, and then that got me interested in native bees, which then got me interested in just like insects overall. But I definitely do like the tussock caterpillars, which are the really hairy ones that we've got like on the screen right now. But honestly, it's hard. It's a hard question. It's like every day I learn something new about a caterpillar that makes them super cool. So like that, and I'm like, well, this one's my favorite caterpillar. And then I learn something cool about a different one. I'm like, okay, well then this one's my favorite caterpillar because this is really cool. So it's kind of a hard question to ask.
So I'm Dawn Dextrace, and I work with the Sullivan County Conservation District in the Natural Resources Department of Sullivan County, and I'm the educator. So we have a project where we have students create art for pollinator seed packets. So this is one of them, an example of one. And these are given out to some of the schools, but they're also sold at our plant sale in the spring for a fundraiser. And part of the reason why we started this project is because we've been collecting seeds from our pollinator garden, and this is an example of when the seeds are ripened for each of our native pollinator species. And we work with volunteers to do this, and they clean the seeds and we package them. And one of the volunteers had mentioned that they had seen a seed packet company make art for the packets, and it was a contest for them. So we thought, well, we don't have many programs for high school and middle school, why don't we make this an art contest program? And eventually some of the other teachers for elementary and even pre-K asked if they could be involved, and so we extended it to all schools. So this year the art that is here in the park in St.Gaudens on exhibit is from Claremont Elementary. It's the Maple Avenue Elementary School, and then from Unity Elementary School, and then from Charlestown Primary School. So we had over 90 entries this year.
It makes it look itself like a bee.
Ah, so that's how it mimics. And can you describe what's happening here?
He's trying to eat a leaf that's high up, so he has to get on a rock.
And what's your name?
Jevin.
And what grade are you in?
First.
And do you have a favorite bug? What is it?
Try,
Blueberry, raspberry.
what are they called? Leaf bugs.
Leaf bugs? Yeah. Do you like it because you can't tell that it's a bug at first? Do you like stick bugs too?
I love stick bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just saw one.
This is the tiger swallowtail butterfly. So this is the caterpillar of those big yellow butterflies. Right now it's about halfway grown. It'll get about, I don't know, maybe half the length of my thumb. They're not huge caterpillars. Yeah. They become these giant butterflies with those huge wings and tiny thin bodies.
Yeah,
And they're
is
actually
it this
mimicking
one?
snakes. It is, yeah.
Yeah, we saw that one.
This one has a little fake snake head on its shoulders. So it has these little angry eyebrows. And it uses these to look like a snake called the green snake.
That's so
So its real head is actually tucked underneath here, and it's got a head capsule with eyes and a mouth, but it makes this little fake head to look like a little snake. And they've even got a little fake snake tongue pops out from this little ridge, and they wave it around to say, "Hey, I'm super scary, don't eat me." It also smells really bad, and that's just one.
It's out! It just came out!
Oh, so that's its head. But if I give them a little poke, will you show me your osmoterium, buddy?
All of these
Oh, there we
caterpillars
go.
are going to turn into moths. And butterflies
one more
are
poke, and then
so
we're
some
done.
of them
Okay.
will
I'm sorry
be
for
the
poking.
butterfly.
Yeah.
So butterflies have a grouping of moths.
That's
Some of them will
cute.
become
Ooh.
the butterfly.
And they don't
that
have
in that
really
group that we
great
call butterflies turn to the
grippy
opposite.
feet like a lot of our other caterpillars might. Instead, they use a little silk ladder to hold on to the tree. So you'll see this one leaving its head side to side, laying down a little bit of silk, and that gives it a better place to rest on during the day. So these are actually, this is one we collected outside in the wild, just an hour south in Keene. So if you're out walking around and you see a black cherry or an apple or a poplar tree, I would definitely spend some time looking for these, especially if you start to see kind of curled up leaves.
Do you guys see all three species in here?
Giant swallowtail. It's also about halfway grown. These are going to get about 2 inches long. They're one of the biggest swallowtail caterpillars. And unfortunately, we don't really have them established here in New England yet. These are more of a southern species. And if I can get the osmoterium,
We have other defenses like being.
this one might be more interested in crawling.
Did you find it? The one that's right here? Yeah, I did.
Sometimes you give them a little poke on the head. Oh, there we go.
Grammy, look. There's two in here. There's one up there that looks like a leaf.
One more little poke.
So this is our imperial
so
moth
fast
up
with it.
here, and then down here.
Oh, I got it though.
We
That's
look
so
at
cool.
it with just our eyes. There we go. Pretty good job. And they do get habituated to people, so the more I kind of give him a little poke on his head but don't eat him, the more this caterpillar starts to learn, hey, you're not actually a predator, I'm not going to waste my energy popping out that osmoterium. So if this is one that we wanted to release back into the wild, we would probably be a little bit more cautious with it. Unfortunately, this is one that's been captive bred, so this is best practice not to release this
These guys are
individual.
pretty heavy, and it's hard
Although
for
if
them
we
to
were
just
further south,
easily
things
fly
would be a
away.
little different.
So
This is actually, I just noticed, this has a secret caterpillar on it.
but they are definitely smaller than these.
I'll get this friend back on their plant.
Okay.
There you go. There's all these big caterpillars on here.
They tend to hang
There's
on the
somebody
ground
who already
because
made their
they're
cocoon.
cold
This was
or
somebody
kind of
called a cave sparrow who uses all these little dead sticks and dead pine needles and things to make a shelter to live in as a caterpillar, and then
Those ones
turns
are
it into their food later on. But at the very top of here, there's a little trail on the leaf. Looks a little bit like a maze. This is somebody living inside of the leaf. This is called a leaf miner. And there's a little tiny caterpillar at the end of the trail who's living inside, eating individual leaf cells in each little bite. And they spend a couple of weeks on the poplar trees doing this in the spring. They become a tiny little moth, and then there'll be a fall generation after those moths go in and lay their eggs on more leaves. But I actually do have a few of these under our microscope if you'd like to see what they look like.
Yeah. And these ones are tricky too. There's 3 different species on here. Wow. One of them tends to hang out in leaf litter and stuff, so they actually might be on it.
Yeah.
And then
and we get it eating.
the other ones they mimic the vines. So
Usually
they're kind
when
of like
it eats,
a
it
twig
only
mimic, but they're
eats 2 or
mimicking
3
the
cells in a
vines.
single bite, and you can actually watch it
see
swallowing
them
the
running
cells.
around
Its body is totally clear. So here's this little mouth that's a little darker and harder, and then this is its entire head capsule, and this part with a little line running through it that's a little wiggly, that's actually the stomach of the digestive system, with food sort of floating around inside of its body right now. But it might have decided to take a little afternoon nap.
I see one like right in there.
Ooh, yeah, one of our big fuzzy friends. This is somebody called a tussock moth, and they're actually really common depending on the season and what year you're talking about. This year there's going to be a lot of tussocks, especially in the fall. They're called hickory tussocks, and they'll look a little bit like this, but a little more white.
Oh, this one's so easy.
That's an interesting behavior.
So unlike the other ones,
I've never seen that before.
or look like something else. So yeah, this one's extremely toxic.
These use their little fuzzy hairs as a way to cause predators to get a little rash. So if a bird comes in to bite them, or if we touch them, we might get a little itchy rash, a little bit like poison ivy, and that would teach us or the bird or whatever animal is trying to eat this that it's not a really good food, and to go move on to something a little easier to eat. And maybe kind of flicking its head like that is a way to say, hey, I might be dangerous, don't eat me. Or it's just something totally different. That's so interesting.
Right now, just because and they're somewhat transparent, so a little bit see-through, and sometimes there's a bit of a glare, but sometimes they literally are eating like little cells of a leaf at a time, and you can sometimes see them swallow it and it go down. But they live their whole lives inside the leaf, and then they do come out as a moth, and there's a little tiny moth that comes out. But anytime you see a leaf that has some of like this too, these little trails. It's not always a caterpillar, but it's some sort of creature living inside the leaf. It's a type of miner. Actually see into its body right now. So do you see that like that pulsing going down the body? That's its heart. So you're seeing its heart. So unlike people who have like that one big heart in the middle, like right up here that pumps the rest of the body, they have this long muscle tube that goes down their back, their whole body. And they're actually, caterpillars are kind of like 2 tubes. They've got the inner tube, that's the muscle pumping blood, and then they've got their outer tube, and that holds all the rest of their blood, which we call hemolymph. And so you can see that pulsing through, and then you can see, so it looks like this. And it normally rolls up some ferns and hangs out in there. But you can see, so caterpillars have these holes on the sides of their body, and that's their air holes. They're called sphericals, and that's actually what they breathe through. So they don't have lungs like we do. But then you can see kind of like this. They'll have 6 legs, but then they also normally have around 5 prolegs on the back, 5 sets of prolegs. And so these will actually be reabsorbed, and they actually won't have those legs anymore when they're a moth. But right now they have them, and it helps them stick to holding onto the leaves or the branch there that we see there. And then let's go look at their venom glands.
Usually they don't wander too much.
So you can see the venom glands right there. And then as we get even closer, you can see some of the barbs that make it, you can see that their hairs would maybe stick onto your skin.